Hello and welcome to another video. I am going to do something a little bit different today. I consider it a bit of a break from the games I've been trying to do to get to 2400. I made it a third of the way there, so I'm going to relax today and do some Puzzle Rush. This is on chess.com. I use it about once a week, sometimes more. It's a very, very good sort of brain training device to sort of help you do tactics and improve your tactical play and spot patterns. So general rules are that I'm playing on survival mode. This is just as many puzzles as I can do with no time limit because my laptop's a bit slow. It's hard to do 5 minutes only. My highest score is 59 before I've got 3 wrong and then been stopped. So let's have a look through the puzzles. This first one was just a background checkmate. This one, queen and bishop lined up, so I'm looking at queen takes check. Every single turn I'm looking at captures and checks, as I do and you should do in your real games. I can't see why knight takes bishop is wrong, because if they do rook takes rook, we can capture back, we win a piece. Okay, we're black. Checks captures, no bishop checks. Our b pawn's going up, but that isn't really going to help. I think we can do a check with our knight. Don't see why we can't take the rook. So next one, there's a checkmate, kiss of death. The first few are easy, they get harder as it goes on, progressively more and more difficult. There's a nice little check here, but queen b6, forking their king and their undefended piece. I always look out for unguarded pieces. Now, again, checks, captures, there's loads of captures we can do with our queen. Most of them, though, will get taken. I can see a capture and a check, double damage with queen check. Then there is a mate in 1. Queen here. Alright, their rook is not defended on b3. How to attack it? I think queen d5 is good enough. It's a check and fork on their unguarded rook. Alright, this next one, okay, let's start off with a check. I think I see the full sequence, but just to be sure. Do the check, they take back, see where the king goes. Now, it would be wrong to play rook h8 check, king takes bishop c3 check, because that would basically trade off rooks. We can't win with only a bishop against pawns. What we can do, though, is bishop c3 threatening mate. They can't stop it. Alright, here we're trying to slay the dragon bishop. Taking is good, but I think threatening mate is stronger with a pin. Queen g5. Black's done a random move, because there's no way to stop checkmate. Alright, so the first move I'm looking at is pawn takes knight. This would threaten lots of discovered checks and also attack their bishop on d4. It would no longer have a guard. That looks pretty good. They're doing Desperado. I think we have to take. Puzzle over. Alright, this next one is not as complicated with as many pieces. It looks as though rook b3 would win. Let's just count it out. Rook b3. Check. They would take us, we take back with a pawn. King e3, pawn b2, king d2, pawn equals queen. And white is one step too far away. So they're giving up their rook instead. I think we have mate in 2. We can't go queen g7 because they'll take us. Queen takes knight. We're still down on points. So queen f6 check, and I think we mate on a dark square. Either f8 or if they'd blocked, queen takes g7 mate. We're definitely down on material. That usually means that it's either win or bust. Knight takes rook, they just take us back. They're still ahead by a very long way. I believe threatening mate. Again, queen a3, a2 is being attacked. They have no way of stopping the mate without giving up a ton of pieces. And yeah, white's just giving away everything. Okay, the simple move here is pawn takes bishop. Not totally sure why we can't do that. So pawn takes bishop, knight takes bishop, and then there's one more move to go. Oh, or they do that. Alright, so here there's no captures, apart from knight takes pawn or queen takes pawn, both lose. So we have to look at checks. There's 2 on the board. They've got an undefended h4 bishop. Queen b4 check. And then slide all the way across, taking the bishop. I think we have mate in 3 here. So again, checks, captures. We could do rook takes knight on f3, winning a piece. But white may have something here. Queen g8 or something, I don't know, queen h8 maybe. What I'm looking at is the most forcing sequence possible. Queen to f2, king moves to d2, bishop e3, keeping the king in the kill zone, it can't go to c1. And I believe at the end of that, the king will be very short of squares, so we can mate with one more check with our knight. Alright, so this one is more of a complicated tactic. They're threatening queen takes h2 mate. We are a tiny bit ahead on material, so we don't need to like checkmate them or anything. So what we can do is deflection. Queen takes bishop check. When they take back with their rook, our g2 pawn is no longer pinned, so we can capture their queen. At the end of all that, we've actually won a bishop, or won a knight, depending on your point of view. Again, it looks like a situation where we're either getting mated or lost. So pawn g5, they could just sack their rook and it'd still be better. I believe the check is the salvation. Check. Now, I want to play rook h4 mate, but there's no guard. So g5, and whatever they do, rook h4 mate. Now this one's a bit tricky. If knight f6 check, king g7, there's no more checks. They'll have very dangerous passed pawns, so we have to be careful. If a takes b4, pawn c2, and again things get complicated. I think we can play knight takes c3, and their b pawn was pinned. Okay, right. So one thing to look at here is things like knight takes g7 with a check. And then if bishop takes, we might be able to do queen takes. We're attacking their knight and their rook simultaneously. So that's definitely option A. Option B is to do knight takes knight check first. They capture back with the pawn, but I don't see where we're going after that. So most forcing sequence, knight takes check, queen takes, hitting two pieces with a fork. Next, black has broken the sacred rule, never play f6. How to punish them for it. Material is about equal, so we may not need to checkmate. Queen d5 check looks like the obvious first move. Right, now, knight f7 check looks very strong. They're giving away their queen. That makes life much easier. Let's just take the queen. Next up, they are a knight ahead. So if we win their knight, but say lose the d7 pawn, we don't appear to be making headway. The moves I'm looking at here are attacking their slightly weak knight, which is being attacked by the rook but defended by the queen. Okay, option A is playing h4. What this move does is it may deflect the queen, because if queen takes pawn, then rook takes knight, and we have that very strong d7 pawn. Option 2, though, which I'm leaning more towards, is queen d5, attacking their pin's knight, preventing f6. Okay, now if queen takes knight, queen takes pawn, and I don't think we have enough on a d7, so I want to save the d7 pawn, which is correct. Now this one's a little tricky. I think they have very weak pieces. They haven't got any development, so it's very easy to break their coordination. I'm thinking that if we take their rook, their queen takes back, and that's the end of the problems that black has. So why not deflect away the queen? Again, captures and checks. Captures. Bishop takes pawn. If they had taken with their queen, we'd get their rook for free. What they've done is they've given the queen up instead. And again, I can see a move that wins a little bit of material, but I'm just checking to make sure there's nothing stronger. We're a piece down, though. This is what's strange. So we're a piece down. The move I'm thinking of is queen takes rook on c1. When they recapture with their queen, knight to e2. So what ends up happening is we both lose our queens. They lose their rook, we lose our knight. But the thing is that in that situation, they would still have two pieces for the piece. So two pieces for the rook. So while that's definitely a key move, I'm looking at bishop b5 as well, attacking their rook, and then some sort of knight e2 with check. but I can't see it. We are 3 pawns up though, so maybe queen takes rook is the best move. And it is. Okay. Nearly halfway to my all-time score of 59. This one at first appears to be easy. That's always a red siren going off in my head. Rook c1 check with a skewer. Taking here. Now, this bit's difficult. 2 or 3 pawns against a rook is surprisingly hard to play. Now, if rook takes b5, pawn a2, rook a5, king b2, f5, a1 queen, takes, f6, b3, f7, b2, f8 queen, b1 queen, check. What about f5 straight away? So f5, they may just do king b2. Rook takes b5, b3, f6, a2, rook a5, a1 queen, takes, f7, b2, and f8, b1 queen. Seems difficult. I'm guessing... Okay, so f5, a2, rook c1 is the move that I'm thinking. So maybe what we do is we push f5 first. Yeah, maybe push but if we push f5, king b2, I was looking at king d3, but then b3, and king d2 maybe? The thing is that the puzzle's only number 25. It's normally not that difficult. I'm having a moment where I can't seem to find the move. One more time. Rook takes pawn, a2, rook a5. King b2 is basically forced. Oh, unless after king b2, king d3, b3, king c4, and then whatever they do, they seem to lose. So rook takes pawn seems to be the right move. Okay, so now we have to stop their pawn queening. Okay, so that was very, very difficult actually. It took a bit more analysis than I thought. Here, if we could just play f4 and they weren't allowed to take either one of our pawns, it would be mate. So with that idea in mind, king g3, and then avoid the tempting bishop and check them. Okay, I'm just quickly checking. Okay, it's only been 13 minutes videos. Going along pretty quickly, about 30 seconds per puzzle. That one a couple of times ago with the rook and those 3 pawns though probably upset the average. Right, here b5 does do a fork on their queen and their knight. That would seem to me to be the right move. They can't attack c6 in any way with their queen, so I think we can play b5. Then if we take their queen, they take back with the knight. So I think take the knight, and then trade, and then queen trade. This is quite a nice one. X-ray attack. Queen g7 doesn't work because they run to e8 and escape. But queen takes rook. Our rook on c1 can then X-ray their what was c3 rook, then take on c8 with mate. Wow, alright. So black appears to have lots of threats, but the thing is, there's no check that black can play that's reasonable. And their queen is very short of squares. So I think rook a1... Now... okay. They're threatening rook c4 check anyway, so I think we can take the queen. Then they lose their rook when they get our queen, and they take our bishop, but we're still better. Bishop a5 looks extremely good here. I don't think they have a way out of mate. So bishop a5. The tempting move was rook e8, but their king would run away. Right, okay. So we're again losing on material. The kind of candidate move here for me is knight f6, because it essentially forces black to take with the pawn. Then we can take with the g-pawn, and we're threatening all sorts of mates with queen g5 check. If we take with the e-pawn, there may be a problem, but let's have a quick look. If we take with the e-pawn, they go somewhere. I don't know where they go actually. Knight to e8. Bishop to e4. Knight takes f6. Pawn takes f6. All right. So what's the difference here? G takes king h8. Okay, so king h8 is actually the more difficult move to work out. King h8, bishop e4. Don't see how they defend it. What I'm struggling with is that I don't see what the difference is between taking the pawns. That's a bad sign. I should be seeing this. So, whichever way we take, they could go knight to e8, and then we have to mate them using the bishop. I think. Bishop e4. I think g takes is stronger because we get like rook e4 to g4 at the end. It's just a bit disconcerting that I can't see why like one move is stronger. Yeah, I think g takes gives us more opportunities. Right, now bishop e4 is basically forced. Yeah, queen takes, rook over, and then we win. So e takes, there might have been fewer options, so it looked more difficult. Now here, knight f7 looks like the correct move, but then they take on h3 and they defend everything. So we actually need to sacrifice in order to gain a tempo. Knight f7 check, and then we can capture the d8 rook without their bishop having moved, so it's mate. 33, over halfway there, that's a good sign. Now, rook takes g2, king takes, bishop takes e4. So we're getting 2 pawns and a queen for a rook and bishop. We're already about the same on materials, that's a good sign. The only other move is bishop takes e4, but the thing is, I don't like it if they do queen d8. We trade king h7, maybe they can play like g4 or something. So this would mean that rook takes g2 must be correct, and then a fork on their queen. Or they can simply give us the queen. That's good. Oh dear, this is the kind of position that I fall down in. So many options. Knight takes f7 is the check. The check is the most important thing to look at first. Rook takes knight, bishop takes e6, and we win a rook for a minor piece. If they don't do anything and they move their king, I think bishop takes e6 is still very, very strong. The other moves to me don't look as good. Now, queen d4 was a check, I did see this, but I thought bishop e3 would attack the queen, making it move, and still be attacking the rook. Now, this is a thematic idea, but it doesn't work. Knight takes knight, queen takes knight, bishop b5 check, and then we win the queen. But can you see what's wrong with that plan? After knight takes knight, queen takes g2 checkmate. We can't move our knight. Therefore, bishop e4 is the move I'm looking at, because when their queen moves, then we can take their knight and win it. And if they play knight takes knight check, which I think they would do, we take with our queen. Or they could simply lose the knight for nothing. That's another way of playing. Queen takes looks like the obvious move. Then they capture their piece back, but now queen takes b5 check does not work because of queen c6. So we take their queen, they trade it off, and then we take their bishop at the end, winning a piece. Alright, now this one is quite a funny one, because if we go knight, if we don't move our knight, they take it. If we go knight to f6, knight g6, and I think they draw. But funnily enough, knight to e7, they're in Zugzwang, because they have to move their knight. Wherever they move it, knight g6 is checkmate. So mating them with only a knight. What's the situation here? The situation is we are ahead on material. Their knight's very, very well placed, apparently, on g2. I never liked Fianchetto knights, though, so I'm not sure if it's perfect there. What's amusing is that the bishop on b1 is hitting h7, so their king has actually got a weak back rank. with that in mind, I think I can take this pawn. And then their bishop is stopping both our rooks going to the end, so we deflect it. Bishop can't take both of them, and end up mating them. Knight takes g3. The clear move for me is takes the knight. They take with their rook. Then when we take with our pawn, I think queen takes pawn is winning. However, we don't need to take them twice. I think we can take their knight first with the f pawn to make sure that our king has a safety hole on h1. Our h pawn still being alive. Situation here is that we're, I think, a pawn down. If I'm counting? No, I'm not counting correctly. We're not even a pawn down. This would indicate that we need to win material at the very least. We're attacking e6 twice. They're defending it twice. I don't think it would work if we were to take on e6. b6 is the move I'm looking at. Pawn b6. They could take us twice, but we just recapture. Then, if they take our knight, we take their knight. Rook c8. Rook d8. Rook takes c7. Bishop takes e6 check, and we win their knight at the end with a pin. Hopefully it will show this entire sequence. I won't just finish the puzzle now. So in order for them to stop us playing rook d8 and then promoting or them losing a whole rook, they go rook c8 to take our pawn. We still go rook d8 though. They have to take the pawn, otherwise they're losing everything. But then using the pin, bishop takes e6. When their king moves, we can then take the free knight and be a piece up. Now material is about equal. We are a pawn down though. Rook e5 does not appear to work because of queen takes g6 check, and we're losing pawn and possibly the game. Rook takes g3 doesn't suggest itself to me because they take with their rook at least, or their pawn, and we seem to be out of plans. This one's quite difficult. We're on to number 40. This is usually where puzzles get incredibly hard. But strangely enough, their queen doesn't have a lot of squares. So I am looking at moves like rook e8, or like rook takes rook first, then something else, but I don't think this works. Bishop takes f2 is the other move I'm thinking of, which will allow us to take on g3. So in order for us to take on g3, we have to eliminate two pieces. Their pawn on f2 and their rook. Rook takes rook, bishop takes rook. Bishop takes f2. There's no way for them to adequately guard g4, so they have to take our bishop, probably with their rook. Then we take with our queen, and their bishop on d3 is hanging, so we at least win a couple of pawns. Right, they're taken with their king. I would guess that queen takes g3 check is still the only move. And also, when they play king e2, in order to avoid incredible complications, I would play the easy move, rook to e5, winning their queen. Now, the moves the computer is doing are either the best moves or the most complicated. There is a slight difference in them sometimes. But there's only ever one solution, so if I ever choose wrong, it will just give a big red X. And if I get 3 wrong, that's it, I've finished. Here, if I do rook takes bishop straight away, they go rook to e3 check with a skewer. We lose a piece. Rook d5 is what I'm thinking of. King c8, but I can't see anything afterwards. What I noticed though is that the bishop on h3 is actually trapped. It can't move anywhere without being taken. So possibly what we do is we eliminate their only counterplay with rook e3 and then win their bishop next turn. They've done a desperado, so we have to take the rooks off first, then capture the bishop. So a bit strange there, not what you usually see in puzzles with a nice careful move. Their bishop and knight are both on the same file, and our rook is lined up with it. That suggests a tactic to me. Queen d7 is the move I'm first looking at, because they can't defend their bishop adequately. When they move it, their knight will drop. I can't see anything stronger. Bishop takes g2 is a move, but after their king takes, I don't see anything. So bishop d7, rook d7, queen d7, I'll get it right third time, queen d7. Yeah, they've moved their knight. Again, I don't see what's wrong with taking the bishop. Then trading queens, and then trading a piece as well. Perfect. Pawn takes. Ooh, bishop f7 is now the critical line. King f8's forced, and then it branches off. I've got queen c5, or I have queen h8. Queen h8 to me looks better, but bishop f7, king f8, queen c5, bishop e7. Bishop e7, I don't see anything after that. So bishop f7, king f8, queen h8, king e7. Queen e8 check is the only one I see. King d6 is looking extremely suspicious. In fact, it must lose. Surely it loses. And king e5, I actually don't see what to do. Maybe it's queen. Oh, actually, their king runs to e4, doesn't it? Okay, one more time. Bishop f7, king f8. I don't see any other checks apart from c5. So king h8, queen h8, king e7. There's knight g6 check, but I don't see how that works. So again, queen e8, king d6 is the line that I'm looking at hardest. It's possible I've missed something, but they can't go king d6 because of knight h5. So they have to go king f6, sorry, because of knight d5. So they have to go king d6 after queen e8. And then I'm struggling to find the move. But this is a very, very forcing line, so it's possible that I'm essentially looking at the right line. So I think this is probably correct. Because there's no undefended pieces, and there's no captures that look good to me. So one more time, queen c5, bishop e7, knight g6, pawn takes. I don't see what in the world would happen. Pawn e7, they could just do king takes bishop or take pawn. So king here looks correct. Queen there looks correct, forcing king e7. Alright, so I can now relax for a moment. This is the good thing about unlimited time. I can consider my options. And I try to imagine I'm playing a classical game, so I try not to take like 30 minutes. I did once think for about 50 minutes, and I was playing someone called Alan Perkins, who was about 220, a very, very strong player. I spent about 50 minutes, nearly an hour, thinking of what to play, looking at this really complicated piece sacrifice, and then right at the end I chickened out and played the correct move, which was a move, some improving move, and we drew a few turns later. Anyway, back to this position. Queen e8 seems to be the only option. I don't see any kind of setup. Queen takes h7, setting up discovered checks. I think they could easily draw with queen e1. And then just queen back to g3, draw. There's no other checks. Knight d5, they take it. Big deal. Oh, unless... No, it doesn't work. No, I have to go queen e8 to force king d6. Yes, again, I'm running very low on checks. There's queen f8, but they at least have bishop e7, but king e5 is annoying. I think I have to go queen b8 to stop king e5. Yeah, queen b8 seems to be the right idea. Oh, okay, good. I couldn't see what to do after that. Maybe I was having a moment of madness. Maybe there was something very, very strong. There might have been a few options. Good, okay. Back to one that looks easier, to me at least. Bishop takes knight is, to me, crying out to be played, because when they take with the pawn, which I think is the only move, we take on h3, and we're threatening knight takes f3 mate, and I don't see a good move for black, for white, other than sacrificing. Now, knight takes is the other option. However, we we may be one move too slow, because knight takes, they take with the pawn, we take with the queen, and then I thought they might have queen b3, and then if bishop takes f3, then queen e6 check, and we don't quite make it. So I like keeping our knight on the board. Oh, good, okay. I was a bit nervous then. Right, pawn c6. This is a deflection move. If we take with our queen, it's no good. If we take with our knight, they can take with their queen. I think pawn takes looks best to me. Yeah, don't want to get deflected. Here, we appear to be the one attacked. If we take with our pawn, that looks so weakening. I don't want to do pawn takes h4. g4, we allow bishop takes h2, which is also looking a bit dire. They have too many pieces attacking us, so I think knight to b5 is good, because we eliminate their attacking piece on d6. I can't see what to do afterwards, but it seems to be a good bailout. And they are making me play another move, which is bad news for me, because I can't see what is the best move. Alright, g4 nearly traps their bishop. Bishop e4, f3. This does look incredibly dangerous, but then again it's a tactics puzzle, so I'm assuming we're fine. I probably would play this in a game, but I'd spend a little while longer with some contemplation of my best move. Right, now, queen takes h2 is the obvious move, which sometimes is correct. King f1. I don't see where we're going, because... Oh, maybe queen h1. King e2. Then queen f3, king d2. We're not quite mating, but we're close. Okay, so that's definitely a candidate, which I'll be looking at in a minute. I'm going to try and eliminate moves here. So rook takes g3 check. This is another very forcing move. They can't play h takes, so we mate on h1. They have to play f takes, which may be useful for opening up the king. But king f1 is the move I'm looking at. Maybe rook g1? So it's either rook takes g3. I think if they do f takes, queen h2, king f1, queen h1, king e2, rook h2, and then mate on f3. So they have to go king f1 after rook takes g3. If queen h3, we can't do that because they trade queens. If rook g1, king back to g1 to take it. Queen h2, king f1. Queen h1 again, king e2, queen f3, king d2, queen somewhere, queen f4? Huh. Difficult. So it appears to go to the same sort of position. So that gives me worries, because it could be a coin flip. So again, I have to look at this very, very carefully. Queen h2 is the most is kind of the first thought I had. So that usually means I normally play the right move at the beginning, and then I trick myself out of playing it. So we've got queen h2. King f1. Queen h1 is the only check that doesn't trade queens or whatever. King e2, and our queen's attacked. So we have to go queen f3 and king d2. And then I was okay, so there might be queen f2 then. King rook e2 is a move. Queen d4. And then we play rook h1 at the end. Yeah, I like queen takes more than I like rook takes. Let's go through this line. Queen f3. Oh, good, okay. It didn't make me play out the bit I was uncertain of. Here we appear to be given a choice of how to get out of check. I'm eliminating the queen moves. It can't be right. The king has only a couple of squares it can move to. Either g or h. The problem with king to g8 is that bishop c4, and I don't think we move anywhere, we just lose. So king h6 is forced. Now, bishop f6. We have rook takes f2, but the problem is that when they take with their queen, if we take their queen, they take our queen, and we're bishop down. Rook takes f2, queen takes f2, queen e4 check, queen f3, queen c2. Oh, but then queen e2. This doesn't appear to work. They're threatening a lot of things at the moment. This is not easy. Queen e3 might be the best move, because that prevents g5 from being taken for nothing and mating us potentially. So queen e3, bishop g7 check, king takes, and they don't really have enough checks to spite us and draw the game. Queen e3 appears to be the best move. It's a quiet move, but we have to defend g5 or take on f2, and I don't see how to win after taking on f2. Okay, good. They did what I thought. Then queen takes and we're fine. Now, queen d4. Let's have a quick look, actually, to see how long this video has been. It's been 36 minutes. That's okay. Got some videos that are nearly an hour, so I can spend a bit longer here. Right, queen d4 is a very strange-looking move. Their queen appears to be weak. Queen takes b7 is the obvious move, which, again, suggests I might be wrong. Rook d8... Rook d1, queen takes e5. Oh no, not queen takes e5. That's terrible. So actually, queen takes b7, rook d8, and then maybe queen c5 check. Queen c6 check, I mean. Maybe then queen d7, and we're winning a pawn or two, but we're still a piece down. Rook d1 might be right, because their queen would have to go maybe to c5. Then we take on b7, hitting the rook and threatening mate. But rook d8 appears to stop us in our tracks. Yeah, rook d8 appears to be the critical line here. I'm trying to figure out what the difference is. I guess the difference is we take on c6 in the queen takes b7 line, so there might be more options there. Queen b7, rook d8 is practically forced. If they go queen d8, I thought we had rook d7, but maybe they have queen c8 at the end. No, they can't do queen d8 because queen takes c6. And king e7, they're just asking to get mated. So, okay, so queen takes b7, rook d8 is pretty much forced. Rook d1, queen takes c5. And I don't see what to do. Therefore, queen takes c6 check after queen takes b7. They block with their queen. Maybe we just take the pawn on a6 and we win a bunch of pawns. Yeah, I mean, just rook to d1, queen takes c5, queen b7, rook d8. Yeah, I don't see anything. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see what to do. Okay, well that's good news. Now, again, rook d1, queen takes c5. I don't see what the plan is. So take the pawn check. No, it's wrong. I was wrong. Okay, I'll figure out what it was at the end. Never mind. I got part of it right. I feel like I should get some credit. Now this position is about equal material, but black seems to be, stuck on the king side. There aren't really any captures that are any good, so checks are the only thing I'm really looking at in the first few seconds. Knight d5 appears to be the only candidate move if you're looking at checks. They could do at the very least pawn takes, then, I don't know, queen c3 check, bishop c6. There's no rooks. Oh, no, actually, I can't go bishop c6. So king d8. Queen a5 check, king e7. I don't really see where I'm going with this. Queen d3 looks a lot better, because it threatens a6 and it threatens d6. Alright, so now they've giving me the option of taking either pawn. They also have queen takes g4, which I have to be aware of because I'm pinned. They could very quickly win. Queen a6, queen takes g4, queen a7, king d8, queen b8, king e7. So there's knight takes here. That's another critical line. Knight takes pawn, pawn takes, queen takes, bishop c6, queen d6, and then rook b1. Yeah, I'm liking this more. Good, okay, got that one right. Again, we're in check, so queen takes is looking very, very suspicious. I don't really want to take with the queen. Now, king has two options. Very simple, one wins, one loses, I expect. Now, b3, if king c4, b3 forces king c3, then maybe rook f3 is good enough. So king a4 by process of elimination, I think. If they go b3, we take on a3. Okay, I don't see what they're doing. So, okay, queen e4 check. Now again, if I block with the knight or the rook, it's looking very, very tricky. So king a5. I don't see where they're going, but then again, I often don't. King a5, they take our knight. I think we have rook h1, king e2, rook takes rook, winning the exchange. Right. Oh, no, this is again. The trouble is seeing the difference between the moves. King b5. They might have queen e2, stopping us running to a6. Then king c5, b4 is mate. And then if king a5, b4, king a4, queen a6, knight a5. Yeah, this whole line looks very, very complicated. King a5, I think I just run to a6 and I get away. Good, okay. Okay, good news. Now they have taken our rook, which I did think about. I was thinking originally that rook e8 was winning, but now I'm unsure of myself. Okay, alright, well at least we're out of the checks. Queen e3 appears to win because if they block with either one of their rooks, then we are able to capture, able to checkmate them on c1 or g1. So queen e3, they have to play king somewhere. King f1, we take a rook and appear to be winning. If king d1, this is what I'm still stuck on. King d1, rook takes rook, rook takes back. Queen g1, king e2, knight d4, king d3. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see the win. I mean, unless, oh, hang on, wait, king d1, we can take on f2. Oh, they've done that. Okay, we'll take the rook then, I guess. Capture with the queen, and we go a knight up. Okay, good. That one wasn't easy. Right now, they can't take the pawn with they can't take the rook with their pawn because of the mate on h8. So they would have to take with their king if we do a move allowing them to take it. Knight to e4 might be a good move because their queen will have to move somewhere, and then we can check them on g3. But then they take our rook. Okay, forget that. Rook takes f6 is interesting. I think it's not good enough. Alright, so rook d to g8, queen f4. Not going anywhere. So there's knight to e4, queen to f4, g3, queen takes knight, g4 doesn't work. Very difficult. There's rook g7, that's the sort of safety move. There's rook h8 as well, but I don't like it. Oh, actually, rook h8, king takes, rook g8, king back to h5. Don't appear to have anything. Strange position, because it appears to be close to winning, but not quite winning. Rook. Okay, so let's eliminate moves. Let's eliminate pawn moves first, and king moves. King to h1. King takes rook. King takes rook. Rook g8. King h5. It's quite funny actually. It might be the best move. King h1. Right, well, there's queen f1, king h2, queen f2. So okay, forget that. It can't be king h1. Right, eliminate pawns. a4, a3, b4 not available. G pawn's pinned. h4 is the only move, but then they at least have a draw with queen takes h4. So that is not playable. There's right, eliminate knight moves. So knight to f5 they take. Knight to e4, queen f4, g3 take the knight. There's nothing. And knight g3 take the rook. Knight anywhere else, I think take the rook. Knight f7, king takes rook. And nothing. Okay, so that just leaves us with rook moves. So I'm doing this slowly, but doing it one at a time. Rook takes g5. Pawn takes. And then I don't see where I'm going with this. Oh, unless knight e4 now. Queen f4, knight g3, king h4, but I don't see where I'm going. So rook takes f6 is the other move. Queen takes g4 check. That might work. Rook takes f6, queen takes rook, g4, king h4 is not really good because knight f5, so king h6, knight f5 anyway, and then they could be in real trouble there. So okay, so rook takes, queen takes, then there's actually knight f5 straight away, but that looks silly. There's okay, g4, king g6 is the move I'm thinking of. Oh, but then there's rook g8. They have to come back. So king h6 must be correct. Knight to f5, king g6, rook d6. Yeah. So by process of elimination, managed to eliminate every other move before finding this. Then rook d6 and pin. Hooray! Over 50. Now, I'm always looking at moves like rook takes c3 and then rook takes h3 with a mate. So rook takes c3, knight takes c8, then bishop f2, but then queen d6. So maybe rook takes rook, knight takes c8, bishop f4. However, the king g1's a move. G1. I mean, perhaps this is okay. I mean, what else can I play, though? That's the thing. What else can I do? There's bishop takes d4, and then there's all sorts of things like queen takes rook. So I think I have to take the rook. And I'm probably going to be wrong, but I think I have to take it. Now, knight takes. So now we're in the difficulties. Rook c6 is a move, but I don't believe it. Thing is, I'm trying to trap the knight as best I can. The trouble is, this queen d6 move always comes in. So the only things I can see are bishop f4, which may trap the knight and threaten sort of mating attacks, or to play something like, yeah, rook d6 or queen d8 or what have you. Actually, queen d8 is an interesting move, because if knight to a7, I don't see how to trap the knight. Yeah, I don't believe in this. I think bishop f4 might be the right move, but it feels so passive in terms of it's not a capture or a check or anything else. So rook c6 I have to look at again. Queen b7. They're threatening queen e7, and I don't seem to have a reply. And queen moves. Queen d8, knight a7, and that's it. So bishop f4. Oh wow, it's correct. That's surprising. Knight to h6. Oh no, wait. Knight takes e7. Check. Rook takes. Bishop takes f6. Queen. Pawn takes. Queen g4. Yeah, this looks good. The thing is that their bishop can't take my rook ever, because bishop takes h7 would win their queen. So yeah, they have to take like this, and then queen g4, I think, wins their bishop. Unless I'm blundering and allowing rook g8. Ah, that's frustrating. I thought I'd solved it. Okay, alright, never mind. Let's see. Queen h4 is the alternative. Bishop e4. Queen f6, winning the piece. f5 doesn't work. h5, queen f6 again. Rook e4? Yeah, I think it might be this. Good, okay, that was correct. Again, I've got a kind of multiple choice here. I've either got moving the king to get out of check or sacrificing. Now, the material is way, way ahead for me, so I don't really care too much about sacrificing things. And with that being said, I think the sacrifice works because I have... Oh, I don't have rook check. I thought I had rook check and then queen d3. Okay, don't give up. Never give up the idea, unless it never works. Bishop e7. No, I was wrong. Oh dear. I thought bishop e7, then rook d8, then queen d3 with the tempo. Maybe queen d3 was correct first, forcing the rook to move or defense, then going bishop e7. Yeah, I got the move order wrong, I think. Oh dear. All right. Okay, let's see if I can break my top score. Okay. The position is a bit odd. It's opposite coloured bishops. Usually indicates that it may be a draw. Alright, so pawn f4 appears to at first be the correct move, because this would force the black queen to be going to f6 or h4, guarding their bishop, which is being attacked by our queen. And then we go rook a7. f4, queen f6, rook a7, king f8. Maybe rook a8 check. Yeah, I like f4. It feels like the right move. All right, now to whether or not I continue to think that is up to debate. Because queen g3 is tempting. Thing is, I can't quite see how to win after queen g6. Maybe I play back to c3. It's not a quiet move because my rook's being attacked. Rook e1. Rook e1's a move, then bishop rook d7. queen g3, queen g6. So it's either rook a7, rook a8. Those are my two options, I think. Rook a8 doesn't actually threaten a whole lot other than rook to g8. So I think rook a7. Right, now I'm in the difficult bit. I don't see my move. I don't see what to do. Again, queen g3 is an option. But I go queen g6. That's the annoying bit. Oh, but then I have rook a... Yeah, oh, whoops. I have rook a8 at the end. Okay, so that means that queen g3, queen g7 is basically forced, and then I take the queen. Okay, alright. Oh, but queen d4. Doesn't matter, because they're still getting mated. Yeah, queen g7 is forced, then I can take the bishop by deflecting the king. Yeah, as opposite colour bishop endings can be deadly if there are queens on the board. What's the situation? On the exchange up. Knight to e1, king f1, rook d1, and a bishop e2. Oh, but then bishop h3, king g1, knight f3, double check. Yeah, it looks really nice. Oh, they've done that move, okay. Okay, bishop e2 would have been more fun. Alright, bishop h3 we can eliminate because of king e2. Now, if I do if I do knight to f3, king e2, do I have double check with knight d4? No, because I have king e3 and I don't see the mate. Huh. Strange. Alright, so knight f3 may not be correct. Knight g2 doesn't work. But, okay, actually, knight d3 I win the piece, don't I? That's the safety move. If nothing else works, knight d3 I take the piece. It's just, no, I just felt I had a mate. Knight f3, king e2. My rook can't really go anywhere. Other than c1, then it can just defend with stuff. Maybe king d3 is a defense. Oh, maybe not. No, I just don't want to play this type of position, like ultra complicated. I'll just take the knight. Play it really simple. Okay, all right. So here, my pawn's going up the board. I always have to remember that. Pawn going up. Now, if I move my bishop on h7 anywhere, they take their rook on h4. So the only way I'd win with moving my bishop would be to play like bishop f5 or something, or bishop g6, and then they take the bishop and I push. But they go rook h8, so I don't see how I do anything there. Moving the king just looks ridiculous. Moving the pawn, they take the bishop, I push, they take the other bishop. So I have to move this bishop somewhere, and check seems to be the right move. Alright. Stage 1 complete, I've done that move. Bishop needs to move next. Ideally I want to stop rook e3, but I don't really see how to stop that. It's probably the point of the puzzle, isn't it? Stop that move. Unless there's some sort of fork that I can do. This one's very, very tricky because, like, one very, very small misstep, and it's over. It's a draw. All right. So, okay. Again, if I push e6, they take the bishop. I push e7, they take it. Move the king, they can sacrifice the rook anytime. So I can't win that way. If I move the e1 bishop anywhere, like d2, doesn't work. Move the king doesn't work, move the pawn doesn't work. Because I have to move the h7 bishop somewhere. Bishop e4, king, rook to e3, bishop to somewhere, f3 check. King moves to f5. Yeah, I don't see it. Very, very difficult. What about... No, what about bishop g6? Rook to e3 again. Bishop e8? Okay, okay, bishop f5 is a move, but then rook e3, e6, rook takes bishop. I need to somehow arrange my bishops so when they take on e5 I can do some sort of skewer, I think. Some sort of skewer or pin or something. So bishop to like d7, their king would move on to the light squares. That's my problem. Yeah, I seem to be in a situation where my bishops are just too bad. They're not coordinated enough. But you know, I could be wrong. There's plenty that I've been wrong about. Probably gonna have to guess in a moment because I don't want to spend like 25 minutes on one puzzle. Maybe I already have though. Oh dear. Right, okay, I'm just going to guess bishop g6, because I have bishop e8 if I need to. Oh wow, I was actually right. That's like a 1 in 4 chance, maybe? Right, what next? So I need to stop... I don't know, I have to stop rook takes e5 somehow. So bishop, I don't know, bishop f2, rook takes... I don't seem to be getting anywhere. It's ridiculous. Oh, wait. Bishop d2, rook oh, good lord. Bishop to d2, rook takes e5, king d6, and their rook is actually trapped. Okay, bishop d2, king d6. Where are they going to go? They're going to go there, aren't they? So now I just need to deflect away the king. That's much easier. Bishop d3, check. King has to stay near the rook, so that would mean king to b6, and I can pin. Right, okay. Fantastic. 56, that's a great score for me. I would love to have 60, but I just feel like I'm starting to get a bit tired. I'll try going on, but I feel like I might be going wrong any moment. Let's have a look. Bishop takes g6, they take it. Now, queen takes h7, king takes, rook h5, king g7, that's it, there's nothing. Yeah, this one looks a bit too difficult for me. Rook h5? Maybe? Knight f5, maybe I push e7 or something. I'm a bit tired, so I'm just playing this move out without really calculating fully. Okay, I've got it right somehow, but I still probably am going to go wrong somewhere. Alright, so... Okay, if I push e7, they take my queen. I don't think I can avoid taking the knight. Let's see, if I take with the rook, they take with their rook. Take with the bishop. Take with the pawn. I don't see the difference again. I never do. Question is, which piece do I want to stay on the board longer? I might want the rook to stay longer, but I don't know. Perhaps it's just a material thing. If pawn takes, they can't play it, and if rook takes, I can't do a rook lift. E7 definitely doesn't work. Does e7 work after? Maybe e7 works after bishop takes. No, I'm wrong. It would have been rook takes then, I guess. Alright, 56 is not a bad score. Very, very quickly then. See where I went wrong. That's what I need to quickly look at. Unless, of course, chess.com refuses to show me, but they do. Let's see. That's the good thing about chess.com. It shows you the answers. Rook d1 was correct, and then rook takes rook. Okay. So I guess what I'm missing here is that in that puzzle I did queen takes c6. Here I guess I'm leaving black's pieces really, really horrible. And maybe I castle and play rook d1 or something and then win. It's a bit difficult for like a 20 level 25 on there. It's only got a 29% pass rate, so I'm not the only one who's messed up there. Alright, next one I got wrong. I think that was a move order issue. I think I just, I meant to play, I had the right idea, I just played the wrong moves in the wrong order. But had the right moves in the wrong order, I mean. So yeah, it was rook takes. Yeah, queen c, okay, queen c2, yeah, so that way I'm hitting h7, protecting g2, and bishop e7 with rook d8 checkmate is coming. So I actually I didn't quite get the right idea. Hitting h7 was correct, but I should have played queen c2 instead of queen d3, which I thought was attacking a loose rook, which might win. I guess they have rook f2 and they might just make it in time with their attack. And then finally, I always feel a bit bad, and I get half the answer right, but it's not good enough. You know, that pawn promotion was very, very useful as an idea, but I seem to get the wrong move. So here, rook takes. They take with the rook. I take with the bishop. They take. Okay, I guess they take back. But I don't really understand why bishop takes is wrong. What do they do first? I mean, what would they do? Going to go on to analysis mode now because I'm very, very curious, and it's good to try and learn from mistakes, or if you don't understand the position, you know, good to try and analyze it. I am going to end this video in a moment, but I do want to see why my move was wrong. So I did bishop takes. What is how do I go on to computer analysis? Oh, there we go. So bishop takes f5. So it's just loading the computer analysis now, I think. So it seems to like queen e7. Oh, I guess I'm in a fork, aren't I? That's why. Queen e7, and then yeah, I'm in a fork. It's still +1 though, so it's not a terrible outcome. But yeah, queen e7. Okay, that's what I missed. They don't have to take me. And then if I retreat with the bishop, they can take the rook. And if I move the rook to say g, I would guess they can take the bishop with, or even queen takes c5 first. Yeah, queen takes c5. Black's coming back into the game, and they've got something here. A lot of pawns for the bishop down on the queen side. All right, that was why my move was not the most accurate line. Now it's actually better for black. All right, well, hope you enjoyed this slightly different video with Puzzle Rush. I tried to get to 60, but just about failed. 56 is still a good score, though. It's probably top 10 or something for the hour. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.